Rapid Solicitors, sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports. Accident compensation and medical negligence claims.
Welcome to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports, where, as you can see, we're at the Motorpoint Arena here in Sheffield, where Big Doug Christensen will be bringing his Belfast Giants their final game of the league season, and one they need to win in regulation if they are to be successful in winning the EIHL Conference, their first EIHL divisional title. It also will give the Belfast Giants a better seeding going into the end of season playoffs. The end of season playoffs, the top 8. Or is it going to be the top 7 and a team that wins the Gardner Conference? The final weekend of the year, and there's still so much to decide. Who's going to win the Gardner? Who's going to win the EIHL? Who's going to be in the top 8? And what their seedings are going to be. Plenty to look forward to then in this week's show. Before that, the last time the Sheffield Steelers were on this ice was in the Challenge Cup final first leg against their arch enemy, the Nottingham Panthers. Steelers-Panthers, Nielsen and Finnerty. Roll the tape, Chris Ellis. Let's see how they got on.
Nottingham arrived in Sheffield as Elite League champions. Would it be a case of after the Lord Mayor's show? Well, not at all. A now trademark goal from Ling and Graham saw the latter score at 17:23 on the power play. Top shelf, Nottingham leading by 1-0. Things got better 80 seconds later. Jordan Fox firing through traffic. Ling and Graham were awarded the assists on that one. And the Nottingham Panthers, who had won the Challenge Cup for the previous 3 years, are now leading 2-0 in the first leg in the Sheffield Arena. Right at the start of the second period, we saw Guy Lapide against Chris Frank. The two of them to go toe-to-toe. They were ready as well, but they took some time to throw their first punches. But Lapine with some rights, falls over, and then some rights from Frank. Both of them managed to stay on their feet once more, and they trade blows with their rights. No one really getting a big control of that fight, and it was soon over. So Nottingham's lead in the first period was a couple of goals, and they were looking to add to it in period 2. They hustled and they harried. Matthew Myers won it. Sheffield wanted a penalty on the play, but Nottingham scored on the doorstep from Lakovic. A 3-goal advantage was certainly more than you think Nottingham could have dreamed of. So in period 2, Nottingham were leading by 3-0. Sheffield did have chances on goal, 23 throughout. Got a bit feisty once more, bit of digging in front of the net. Resulted in both players coming together. Fatter and Fox now trying to get things moving. It was Fatter really trying to get Fox into a tussle, but Fox was having none of it. Then again, we see another fight. This time, Beckett getting involved for the Nottingham Panthers. And that was a big fight with Ferguson, the two of them going toe-to-toe, throwing some big punches. You see Ferguson connecting with a beauty. A few of them right on the jaw and on the cheek. Some big punches being thrown. So Nottingham still at this stage leading by 3-0. But in period 3, they stretched it to 4. Lakovic once more in the slot. 54 seconds gone in period 3. Gadavan and Francis with the assists. And it was 4-0 Nottingham. Sheffield needed something to take into the second leg. And coming away for them was Jeff Legui. A great finish from the right side. Such a natural goal scorer, and he gets a goal back. 3:45 gone in period 3. You'll see on the replay, instinctive shot over the glove. It is a terrific finish from Legui, and it was 1 goal back. But the final score after the first leg, Sheffield 1, Nottingham 4.
So, advantage Nottingham Panthers on their march towards a Grand Slam. A 4-1 victory over the Sheffield Steelers certainly puts them in the driving seat. Now, whilst you were watching last week's show, two very important games were taking place. Up in Braehead, the Clan were taking on the Dundee Stars. Remember, those two were in a fierce battle for the Gardner Conference title. And whilst nothing was definite, whoever won that game was certainly going to be favourites for that Gardner title. Also, at the NIC in Nottingham, well, it was the biggest party in town. Could the Cardiff Devils be the party poopers? Unlikely, as almost 7,000 people who had waited for 57 years rejoiced as the Panthers brought the championship trophy home to Nottingham. Sit back and enjoy.
A thrilling game as the Nottingham Panthers fans packed out the National Ice Centre to welcome back the Elite League champions 2012-13. Now, if ever there was a trademark David Clark goal, this was it. A one-timer in the left circle, assist to Fox and Wilson, and Nottingham were leading in the first period, 6 minutes and 37 seconds gone. We had a goal, and then there was a fight in the game. It was Kelsey Wilson and Tyson Marsh, the pair of them dropping the gloves. Marsh getting the first punches in with his right, really leading there and taking the fight from the off. Wilson tried to come back, and the two of them just held on for a bit. And eventually the linesmen come between them, James Kavanagh and Paul Staniforth, and they say enough is enough. And the game, of course, at 1-0 is still very much on a knife edge. So to period 2, and it is the home side who had done most of the attacking at this stage. But it was now going to be a nice spell for the Cardiff Devils. Outshot 18-11 in the first period, but they come back at the start of the second. A rebound there for Quinney. So 22-12 gone in the game. It is a 1-1 scoreline, and the Cardiff Devils, injury-hit Cardiff Devils, have got back into the game. Nottingham looked to take the lead again, and they did right there on the rebound. Werner and Clark got the assists. A power play goal for Ling, a 34th goal of the season. So Nottingham had the game in their advantage once more at 2-1. But this Cardiff Devils side, they've always been made of stern and steady stuff. And here they come into the offensive zone. And right on the doorstep there was Harding to put away that loose puck. The game is level at 2-2. Momentum was firmly on Cardiff's side at this stage, and they went ahead for the first time in the game 2 minutes later. Certainly were working things well in the offensive zone, and jumping onto the loose puck was Piggott, a third of the year for him. So that was 3-2, and now Nottingham needed to come from behind. They had a power play in the final 5.5 minutes, and they've been good on the power play all season. 25% at home, 1 in every 4. And they scored here, Bruce Graham, at 14:37 in period 3, and the game was level at 3-3. We went to overtime, no goals. So to the penalty shootout. Former Panthers player Mark Richardson shoots first, and Kowalski gets a piece of it, but it's in the back of the net. Another D-man, Eric Werner this time, for the Nottingham Panthers. He just delays himself, and he's denied, so Kempton Smith can really give the Cardiff Devils some good advantage here. He is denied by Kowalski. So it's a turn of David Ling. Lovely move on the netminder from David Ling. He scores 1-1 after 2 penalty shots. Stuart McRae for the visitors. He scores. So Jordan Fox is really going to have to score, or else the game goes to the Devils. Fox, calm as you like. Good move there. So 2-2. After the round of penalty shots, sudden death. Richardson is unable to score. We then go back the other end, and this time Werner is denied. So that's 2 out of 2 he's denied for. Kenton Smith, no goal either. So David Ling, surely he can win it, but no. Surprisingly, David Ling doesn't score. Stuart McRae has a chance. The door is closed once more, so Jordan Fox turn for the Nottingham Panthers. He can't score either. Mark Richardson, no goal there. Eric Werner, surely the penalty shots come to an end, and yes they do. Nottingham win the game on penalty shots by 4-3. The celebrations continued. They retired Corey Nielsen's shirt what an honour and so deserved. And Jordan Fox lifted the Elite League title. A massive game at the top of the Gardner Conference and in the race for the playoffs, and it was Dundee who made by far the better start. A terrific drive there from Krantz, a 5th goal of the season, set up by Rynan and Bagran on the power play. And before the 10-minute mark, the Stars had got 2 power play goals. Bowen and Rynan this time setting up Wirral for a rebound. 34th of the season for him. It looked like the Dundee Stars were going to be in pole position to win the Gardner Conference. But Braehead found something from somewhere and they got back into the game with Goldie from Galbraith at 21-34. That's 2-1. But Dundee came back and short-handed they broke down the ice and McLean scored. It is 3-1 Dundee Stars. It's going their way. Are Braeheads even their dreams of reaching the playoffs? Are they beginning to go up in smoke? Well, Burnstill scored from right side. That at 12:33 in period 2 on the power play. And 3 minutes later, the Clan was swarming all around the net of Nick Riopel. And that goal from McPherson, Galbraith and Sescon with the assist. It was a level game, so the Clan had come from behind. The next goal was crucial. Who was going to score it? Galbraith is there, left-hand side, gives it to Burnstill, and the Clan are leading on the power play with 2.5 to go. And that's the way it stayed. Massive win for them. Braehead 4, Dundee 3.
So Eric Werner in a penalty shootout win then for the Nottingham Panthers, keeping 7,000 fans on the edge of their seats at the NIC. And what about those party scenes afterwards as well? Fans, players, coaches, managers all celebrating that well-earned championship. That, though, wasn't the biggest game on Friday night, was it? The Braehead Clan's victory over the Dundee Stars, whilst not wrapping up the Gardner title, certainly put them in the hot seat, certainly made them favourites. Also, it made life very difficult and put the Dundee Stars in a predicament. They had to win their home game against the Edinburgh Capitals whilst relying on the Braehead Clan losing at Kirkcaldy. Here are those 2 games. They're 2 crackers.
It really is fantastic that the playoff race went down to the final weekend of the season. Both sides here, Dundee and Edinburgh having chances in the first period. 9 for the Stars and 19 for Edinburgh. They really were laying it on the line. You're about to see the first goal of the night. It came 16 seconds before the end of the first period, and Dobrin and Yarrelin combined, and they set up Hartman, a 22nd of the year for him, on the doorstep. So a first period lead for the visitors by 1-0. Dundee's season depended on turning this game around, and they were back in contention at 28-39. Watkins on the doorstep himself. 1-1 scoreline then, Dundee level, and that was the scoreline at the end of the second period. But there were chances for both sides, of course, as the game went on. Yarrelin there, just as the second period came to a close. But into the third, and one of those chances was converted for the Stars. McLean with a 17th goal of the year. It's 2-1 Dundee, and the momentum has swung in their advantage. They've got that crucial go-ahead goal. Still, the chances rained in from both sides. Edinburgh did have 9 shots on goal in the third period, but only 3 minutes after Dundee went ahead, the Caps went on a power play, and this one was set up by Haleko and Patry with the leveller. It's a 2-2 hockey game. It's on a knife edge. It is thrilling. It is important. But it was Edinburgh who came forward, and Yarrelin and Lean Webber, and it is Hartman leading by example again, and that was the crucial goal at 53-40. Wow, Edinburgh make the playoffs, but Dundee don't. Dundee 2, Caps 3. Another big Scottish derby, this time in 5, and it was the home side who went ahead in the first period, 6:37 gone. It was Hogg with a 29th goal of the season. Home side ahead then 1-0. Got better for them as the period drew to just past the midway point. They took their time, they worked it well in the offensive zone. The resulting goal was quite scrappy, but they scored through Dolan at 13:01. It was 2-0. Very much Fife Flyers were the happiest side. Braehead Clan coming forward though in period 2, looking to get back into the game. Burnstill with a fortunate one from left side. That was 2-1, so they certainly had hopes of turning things around. But the 5 flyers before the midway point in the game, Turnbull and Stewart assisting, and player coach Dutium, 3-1 scoreline. The 5 flyers look set to secure their place in the end of season playoffs. The game wasn't without incident though. Just off the play there in the corner, you see a couple of players tangling. Looks like it could be dying down, but then you get all sorts going off in the corner in front of those Braehead fans. Number of players from both sides involved. The linesmen step in. Pavel Halas and Gregor Mizzen to try and break things up, and it seems to be getting under control, doesn't it? But players still furious at incidents that have gone on, and both sets of players just have individual players trading the odd punch and just having a pop at each other. Again, look, it just looks like it's going to start going once more. Hansen's the man who seems to be angry at this point. Eventually, though, it does seem to be dying down and coming under control. But players just, again, look pretty angry. And finally, that one does die down. The scoreboard read 3-1. And Fife confirmed their place in the playoffs, but Braehead went with them due to other results. And it was the final goal of the night for Keller and 9th of the season. Final score, the Fife Flyers 4, Braehead Clan 1.
So the 5 Flyers did their job. They beat out the Braehead Clan. That's guaranteed them a playoff berth. And if the Dundee Stars had have beaten the Edinburgh Capitals, it would have kept the Gardner Conference alive. But as you saw there, the Edinburgh Capitals beating out Dundee, which now means the Edinburgh Capitals will also make it through to the playoffs. The Dundee Stars and the Hull Stingrays, the 2 teams that miss out. The positioning isn't finalised yet. We still need Sunday's game to determine who plays who and who's going to be 1 to 8 in the seedings. Time for a break now. More action when we come back, and of course all those permutations. Thank God we've got Doug Christensen here.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.
Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports, where we're at the Motorpoint Arena to see whether the Belfast Giants can make it to being EIHL champions. To do that, they had to beat the Coventry Blaze on Saturday evening at the Skydome Arena, whilst their opponents tonight, Sheffield, well, they were just 300 yards away at Ice Sheffield, taking on the Hull Stingrays. Chris Ellis will talk you through both games.
2 home games in 2 days to end the regular season for the Sheffield Steelers. First up, the Stingrays, and what a way to start. Jeff Legui with a tremendous goal. Comes away from Smith in one move, and you'll see this on the slow-mo, and then backhand shelf, past Ben Bounds. What a goal to start the game, 47 seconds in. But 80 seconds in, it was suddenly 1-1. Sheffield couldn't get control of the puck behind the net, and it was Tendler from Silverthorne and Squires. A 42nd goal of the season, 80 seconds gone, and it was 1-1. The game turned around just past the 7-minute mark, and the Stingrays had come from 1 down to lead by 2 goals to 1. Davies has his 8th goal of the season. The assist going to Cloutier and Dooley. A second past the 7-minute mark, the Carrot was beaten for a second time. It was 2-1 Stingrays. It was a great start to the game, as I said. More goals were to follow. Danny Myers scoring goal number 2 for the Steelers. Hewitt and Tate setting it up, and Myers from the left-hand side getting a 4th goal of the season. So it was 2-2. Felt like every shot that went in on net went in. The netminders both beaten twice inside the opening 12.5 minutes. The Steelers weren't done though in the first period, and they found a way to score goal number 3. It was Ferguson, attempt of the season. Phillips and Legui with the assist. Well worked by them, and Ferguson on the doorstep to make it 3-2. Were the Steelers finished? No, they weren't. Into period 2, and we can see them coming forward once more, and the rebound there from Limbright, the 21st of the season. Stevenson and Myers were the guys getting the assists. It just bobbles through there, through bounds, and just snapping it up is Limbright. 4-2, and it looked like the game would be out of sight, although plenty of time to go, so the Stingrays had chance to get back into the game. They scored through Dooley on the power play, with the period coming to a close. That was an 11th goal of the season, coming at 36-16. So the Stingrays getting the scoreline back to 4-3. But that is the way it stayed. Hull Stingrays out of the race for the playoffs, and the Steelers win the game. Sheffield 4, Hull 3. With Nottingham Panthers only beating Cardiff on penalty shots on the Friday, Belfast knew a regulation time win would see them move to the top of the EIHL Conference with one game each to play. So plenty to play for the Giants in this game in the Skydome, and they went ahead when Toe, on a double rebound, scored his 5th goal of the season. 8 minutes gone, and the Coventry Blaze had fell behind to the Belfast Giants. In period 2, one way then the other, both sets of players getting really involved, and it was a very open game. In fact, 31 shots on goal, and Coventry scored through Guthrie. 87 seconds into period 2, it was 1-1. But at one end, the Coventry Blaze coming forward, working hard on the wall was Cameron. They were pressing for goal number 2, but short-handed left-hand side, Surratt broke, really at speed. What a find by the Belfast Giants and Doug Christensen. 13 goals now he's scored. I wonder how many he'd have had if he'd been here since the start of the season. Special teams were doing their thing for the Belfast Giants. A short-handed goal was followed by a power play goal. Lloyd and Roberts getting the assist. A terrific strike from Langlaise. Another great find later in the season by Christensen. So the game really was going Belfast's way. It was 3-1 at this stage. But Coventry kept battling, and they were looking to find a way to get back into the game. Giveaway, though, here in front of the net. It was Clark with a 20th goal of the season. Terrible giveaway from the Blaze, and they were 4-1 down. But they found a goal in period 3. They had 14 shots on goal in that period, and it was the Lee brothers combining for Henrik's 13th goal of the season. Another late addition to an Elite League roster. Coventry 2, Belfast 4.
A confidence booster then for the Sheffield Steelers ahead of their Rapid Solicitors Elite League playoff finals clash against the Coventry Blaze next weekend. The Blaze, of course, going down to the Belfast Giants, thus meaning a meaningful game here at the arena tonight between the Steelers and the Giants as Doug Christensen's side chase that elusive EIHL Conference title. It was a point I put to Big Doug just a few minutes ago. Doug, final game of the season and a big one for the Belfast Giants, one you need to win tonight.
Well, it's a great opportunity for us to win the EIHL Conference. It wasn't the trophy that we wanted to win, but being in the position that we are today would be a fantastic accomplishment for our team. I think you can make a strong argument that it's the second toughest trophy to win, and we want to make sure we put on a good effort and try to lift that trophy. Without
being negative, does it also show perhaps where you went wrong in trying to claim the biggest trophy, the toughest one to win, perhaps dropping more points out of the conference?
100%. The damage is done in that month in January where we dropped a few home games to teams that we probably shouldn't have. But give those teams credit. They came into our building and they beat us fair and square. And now we look back at that and feel disappointed with where we are. But sets us up for hopefully a great night tonight. Some momentum going into the playoffs because that last trophy is the one I think everybody wants.
I'm so glad that you are here tonight of all nights, especially at the end of the game, Doug, because the mathematics tonight, and you are the league's mathematician when it comes to this stuff, there are so many permutations still. Edinburgh could still face 3 teams. A lot of it depends on this result for you. And of course the seedings count a lot for you as well tonight.
Well, for sure. I think it's great the way the conference system has worked. The fact that you had 4 teams for 3 playoff spots going into the last weekend, that's phenomenal. The fact that still on the last day you have so many different teams and so many different organizations playing for different matchups, things like that, including ourselves. We could be the 2nd seed, we could be the 3rd seed, and for us to be a conference champion is something that we want to be.
Who's going to stop the Nottingham Panthers winning this Grand Slam, and how are they going to stop them? Because the Challenge Cup, they've got one hand on it already, they've already won the league. and they seem to have got a pretty good run as well into the Final Four. What's somebody got to do to make sure that they don't lift all three?
Well, number one, we need to make sure that we focus on ourselves. The Nottingham Panthers are a great team. They are the most consistent team, but we're starting to get healthy, and we like our chances. They lifted a trophy in our building. We want to lift a trophy in their building, but they're a very, very dangerous offensive team. They've got good goaltending. They got big physical defensemen. For us, they're the team that I think everybody's shooting for. I think that there's 9 teams trying to stop them, and if we happen to be the one, that would be great. Just
going back on tonight, how much is your lineup tonight? You've come in here a little bit short-handed, affected by what you might have to face next week, and you resting guys?
Well, we've got 6 players out, and they're big players. They're not the guys who are depth guys. They're our impact guys. But last night we got a fantastic win. It was probably as proud as I've been of our team all year. Outside of that win in Nottingham that we had in January, last night was a phenomenal team effort. If we can repeat that performance tonight, I'll be as happy as I've been all year, because the players that we've got, Gareth Roberts played more minutes last night than he probably has all year. Fair play to him, did a fantastic job, made our smartest play of the entire evening. Matt Toe steps up, scores a big goal. Graham Walton goes and plays wing. Darryl Lloyd, all those different guys playing out of position, Kevin Surratt. But we have so many injuries at home that this weekend we thought, one weekend off, maybe just rest the minds, rest the bodies, and obviously heal up those injuries. And then next weekend we become a completely different team, adding 4 or 5 players back into our lineup.
The thoughts of Belfast Giants coach Doug Christensen then ahead of this game against the Sheffield Steelers. You'll be able to see highlights of that when we come back after the break. Go put the kettle on. Don't go far.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.
Hello and welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. You'll see the Giants, the Steelers, they're out on the ice. Now, let's do the maths. Elite League champions, the Nottingham Panthers. Gardner Conference champions, the Brayhead Clan. Leaves just one remaining title. The Erdart division awaits either the Panthers or the Belfast Giants. Big Doug just stands to my left. His side needs a win in regulation to claim the Erdart Conference title. Chris, see us through it.
A last game of the regular season for these two sides. Was there to be an end-of-season feel? Not at all. Belfast knew a regulation time win would guarantee them the EIHL Conference. Sheffield getting ready for playoffs. These two could meet in the semi-finals. So a marker to lay down, perhaps. First goal of the night went the Steelers' way. Ferguson from left side. Le Guy and Phillips with the assists. And it was 1-0 to the Sheffield Steelers in the first period. Great slow-mo on the replay. It goes past Semler in the Belfast Giants goal, and the Steelers were ahead. The Giants bench lost their discipline a bit in the first period. They had 3 bench minors, so they were to suffer on the penalty kill. They were short-handed at many points of the first period, and frustrations boiled over a number of times from both sides. As I said, there was no end-of-season feel to this one. Both sets of players certainly getting involved, getting feisty, and making themselves known to each other. Steelers leading by 1-0 in the first period, and they were good for that first period lead. They were looking now here to get things going in period 2, but they went on the penalty kill. It was to be a tripping penalty for Gertson, and he was to go to the box at 1:08 in period 2. So the Sheffield Steelers had to be on the penalty kill. Now, just as that penalty kill was coming to a close, a great solo skate from Surratt, a 14th goal of the season. Phillips and Roberts with the assist, but this is a terrific goal. Beats his man all ends up and scores to make the game 1-1 in period 2, and the Belfast Giants had come from behind. Now that was a good goal, and this is a terrific goal too. Chris Frank sets it up, Gertson cuts in and goes round Zemlach, the 2-1 Sheffield Steelers, 17-17 gone in period 2, and the Sheffield Steelers were leading the game once more. The Motorpoint Arena celebrating, the majority of it. Terrific move on the netminder, on the backhand he scores, and the Sheffield Steelers were leading by 2-1 at the end of the second period, and those fans sensed a victory. Into period 3 then, and it was the Sheffield Steelers' turn to be on the back foot, a giveaway behind the net, and it was Surratt who set up Toe for a 6th goal of the season. The game was level at 2-2. Sheffield turned over at the back, and the Belfast Giants, remember, a regulation time win would win them the EIHL Conference on regulation time wins from the Nottingham Panthers. The game was level at 2-2 in period 3, and it really was on a knife edge. Which way was this game going to go? Now, big incident here. Pulled down there was Keith by Stevenson. Both sets of players got involved with each other. A few tussles going on the ice, but referee Michael Higgs there giving a penalty shot. Keith slightly injured, so he leaves the play. That means there can be a new penalty taker, and it is Clark, 24 on his back. Can he put the Belfast Giants ahead for the first time? Yes, he can. De Caro gets a piece of it, but the Steelers are behind, the Giants are ahead. Are they going towards the EIHL Conference? Look on the slow-mo, De Caro gets something on it, but it flips over him, and the Belfast Giants are leading by 3-2. The game got feisty again as it came to a close in front of Gareth Zemlach. Then it spilled behind, all players coming together. Players were looking to pair off, no real punches being thrown at the moment, but 1 or 2 getting jabs in. You did wonder if anyone was going to drop the gloves, and he might have having words there. The linesman doing a good job and breaking things up. Referee Michael Higgs right there, and they were to get the situation under control. Real effort for the linesman, but they did do that. So, more feistiness to come. The Sheffield Steelers coming forward on net here. Players bumping into each other, players having a pop at each other. Boiled over once more. Look, Zemlach getting involved too. The crowd behind seemed to be enjoying it. Eventually, it fizzled out. But the main thing was for the Giants, they won the EIHL Conference. Final score, Sheffield 2, Belfast 3.
Thoughts on that one, Ryan?
Disappointed with the loss, but like I said, I think we dominated the game. Had created a ton of chances. We just couldn't find the back of the net, and we missed some open nets. I mean, we missed one with 5 seconds to go, and it was a bit frustrating for the guys because I thought they deserved better. But I think we dominated that game from start to finish. Physically, I thought we were ready to play. Thought the guys battled pretty hard, and for a game that didn't have a whole lot of meaning, I thought that the guys put in a pretty good effort and got stuck in pretty good. So, we'll take the positives out of there. Obviously, the power play let us down tonight, and we gotta work at that. But like I said, we got a good week of preparation here for Coventry, and all positives coming out of our dressing room right now.
How did the Sheffield Steelers go into that Coventry series? How do you see that Coventry-based team on paper? You give them a bit of a beating only a week ago.
Yeah, we had a good game up there, and it's good for our confidence because we hadn't seen them for some time, and they've changed their personnel, since we saw them. So I think we play well in the rink. We play well in the small rinks, and I think the guys should have confidence. But come playoff time, as we've seen, anything can happen, and you got to be ready, and you got to put 60 minutes together each night.
It's not like the old days where you'd hope to, win on the road and then bring it back. Both teams can win on the road. Coventry can win in Sheffield. Sheffield can win in Coventry. It's probably the tightest of the 4 series.
Yeah, it's going to be a tight battle, and I think we got to go into it with our being strong defensively and trying to capitalize on our chances. And you need your special teams going. You need every aspect of your game going when it comes to playoff time. Johnny needs to be a wall back there. And like I said, but we got a good positive feelings coming out of our room right now. I think the guys are up for it. Like I said, I thought we played well tonight. We outplayed a very good Belfast team, and we'll have a good week of practice and be ready for Coventry.
Are the Sheffield Steelers a playoff team?
I believe so. Yes, I believe we got good character, and we'll rise to the occasion. I got a lot of faith in my guys, and obviously the guys from last year don't want to have a repeat, and there's a bit of a hangover there. So we got some wrongs to make right this year, and like I said, we brought in some good character guys, Gertson and Limpright, and I fully expect us to give us our best shot come Saturday.
The thoughts of Sheffield Steelers head coach Ryan Finnerty following that 3-2 victory for the Belfast Giants. A win, of course, that made the Giants the inaugural winners of the Erdhard Conference. Congratulations to Doug Christiansen and his team. When we come back, we'll be speaking to GB international defenseman Mark Thomas and looking back on all the other games on Sunday evening, and even trying to work out who's finished where and what the playoff seedings are. Give us enough time, go make a cup of tea. We'll be back after the break.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.
Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports, where the Sheffield Steelers went down 3-2 at home to the Belfast Giants. Joining me to discuss happenings in that game, defenseman Mark Thomas, and not the way that you would have wanted to end the season.
No, definitely. I think, at the same time, I don't think the score reflected the type of game. I thought we came out and dominated the Giants for the most part of that game, and probably deserved a little more.
I think coming in here, people perhaps didn't know what to expect tonight. It was a pretty meaningless game in all senses for the Steelers, but it got a little bit feisty, got a little bit edgy at times, and that ran through for the whole 60 minutes.
Definitely, it's not. We don't just like to turn up and put our sticks in. We got to go in there with, well, at the end of the day, it's a playoff mentality now, and obviously looking ahead to next week. So we have to start getting ready for that tonight, and that's the way we want to play in the playoffs. So it's the way we came and played tonight.
Playoff series against the Coventry Blaze, but we saw earlier the highlights of the first leg of the Challenge Cup final against the Nottingham Panthers. That didn't go well here. What will you have to do? What kind of mentality will you go into the NIC for that second leg, and how will you turn that scoreline around?
Well, I mean, it's not gone the way we wanted it to, but same time now going into Nottingham, we've got nothing to lose at the end of the day, and we're 3 goals down. We've been in there before and beaten them this year and previous years, so we just got to go in there, work our bags off, and you never know what can happen.
Is that first goal all important? If you get it, kind of starts putting a little bit of pressure?
Definitely, it's going to be key. If we get that first goal, it's going to put them back on their heels and tighten up a little bit, and then hopefully momentum takes us through, maybe grab another one, and then it really, it's back on again, isn't it, really? So we'll see.
This isn't a Panthers team that have wilted under pressure, though, so far this season. They seem to have a little bit more steel about them this year.
Definitely, this is the best Panthers team, obviously, in the years I've been playing in Sheffield, and deserved league champions, but hopefully we can do something about not letting them win another trophy, and then obviously we've got the playoffs as well, so we'll see. There's a lot of hockey to be played. Talk
to us about the playoffs as well, not here at the arena at EIHL Sheffield. 2 similar buildings then, Sky Dome and EIHL Sheffield. How will that series go, you think? What kind of series are we expecting?
Well, I imagine it's going to be a physical series, the type of team that Coventry have got and the type that we've got here. We've done well in the Dome this year, so I can, I can't see, EIHL Sheffield's not going to be a problem for us playing against Coventry. Obviously we've got in Coventry on the Saturday night, so hopefully we can come back there with a lead, and obviously all to play for then Sunday.
A big thank you then to Mark Thomas. Now we have 3 more games for you, the remaining games from Sunday's action in the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League, and these did have some meaning as well. They would determine the final seedings and who'd play who in the playoffs.
These two sides, of course, met in Nottingham the previous Friday. Nottingham winning by 4-3 after a penalty shootout. Here, though, the home side went ahead 12-25. Davies scoring a 13th goal of the season. There was nothing that netminder Dan Green could do when he was left all alone right-hand side. But Nottingham fought back only 2.5 minutes later. Good move down the ice, actually. Gadavan and Lapine got the assists on their levelling goal, and it was Lakovic, right-hand side. Terrific shot past the netminder. 1-1 then, and the scores were level after the first period. They've been very level in terms of shots on goal. Just 11 to Cardiff, 10 to Nottingham, so 1 in it. Into period 2, and Ling and Wilson set this goal up for Francis. A 22nd of the season for him. And the Panthers had come from 1 down, and they were leading by 2-1. They knew they had to get a regulation time victory, and then hope that Belfast slipped up in Sheffield if we were to see a conference win for the Nottingham Panthers. Anyway, It was the Cardiff Devils doing the attacking, and Beerbrough, short-handed, scores. 38-43. The Cardiff Devils level at 2-2. Now, the only goal to come now in the second period, just one more. And Nottingham worked this one well on the power play. And this is a terrific finish, and you'll see what I mean by that one. They work it from point to point, and then a blasting shot from David Clark. 39-14. It is a 3-2 hockey game to the Nottingham Panthers. Still 4 more goals to come in period 3. Both sides gave it their all. Nottingham started to find some momentum right on the doorstep. Matthew Myers, 43-35 gone, and they are beginning to gain some real control. That was Myers' 16th goal of the season. Still, the goals kept on coming for Nottingham, and before the midway point of the third period, they found themselves with goal number 5. Another great finish from David Clark. 49-14 gone, 5-2. Change in netminder there, Chris Whitley replaced by Joe Myers. And almost immediately, it's as though that change just inspired the Cardiff Devils. And they scored their 3rd of the night. And it was a 2nd of the night for Davies. So a 14th goal of the year for him. 50 minutes and 12 seconds gone in this encounter. There was still time for one more goal. And David Ling scored it, a 35th of the year. So Nottingham win this game. Panthers 6, Cardiff 3. Elsewhere in the Elite League on Sunday, goals there from Silverthorne, Tendler, Dooley and Davis give the Hull Stingrays something to cheer about to end their season. They beat Coventry by 4-1, and the Edinburgh Caps as well. Great game for them. Lean Webber, Yarlin, Haleko and Patry scoring as they beat Dundee 4-2.
So folks, that's it. The league is done. We now know who the 8 teams are in the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League playoff finals. That will all take place next weekend. We'll have the schedules in a few moments for you. You've seen all the action from the final weekend. Let's just recap the results and take a look at those league standings and conference title winners. It all started, of course, on Friday the 22nd of March. The Panthers 4-3 over the Cardiff Devils. Braehead Clan 4-3 over the Dundee Stars. The Coventry Blaze went down at the Sky Dome 4-2 to the Giants. Sheffield beat out the Hull Stingrays 4-3, and the Dundee Stars lost at home 3-2 to the Edinburgh Capitals. What a big loss that was for Dundee. It knocked them out of the playoffs. And finally on Saturday, the Five Flyers 4, the Braehead Clan 1. Tonight we've seen the Sheffield Steelers go down to the Belfast Giants 3-2. The Cardiff Devils losing at home to the Panthers 6-3. Edinburgh Capitals rounded off a fantastic season for Richard Hartman and his team with a 4-2 victory over Dundee. And finally, Hull Stingrays 4, the Coventry Blaze 1. So let's take a look at the 2 conferences. First of all, that victory for the Belfast Giants on Saturday and Sunday meant that Doug Christiansen's team are the Erdart Conference champions. Up north, of course, in Scotland, congratulations to the Braehead Clan. They lift their first trophy as an organisation by beating their fellow Scottish teams and the Hull Stingrays. Everybody expected Braehead to win, but they left it to the final weekend. Shall we juggle those tables together and see how the Elite League finished with the Panthers on top, deserved champions, the best team from September through till March. Belfast second, Sheffield, Coventry, Cardiff, the Edinburgh Capitals finishing 6th. Five Flyers and the Braehead Clan, we bid farewell to the Dundee Stars and the Hull Stingrays. So I'm sure by now you've done the maths for yourself. The top 8 teams did end up being the top 8 teams for the playoffs, and there was no confusion with a conference winner, if you like, knocking out the 7th or the 8th place team. Congratulations to all those teams that have made it through. Let's take a look then at the playoff rankings, seedings and the quarter-finals for the Rapid Solicitors playoff finals. The Nottingham Panthers will take on the Five Flyers. What a series that will be at the NIC in Kirkcaldy. At the Odyssey, the Belfast Giants, the 2nd seed, taking on the Edinburgh Capitals. Who would bet against Richard Hartman and his side, making it through to the final 4? The Braehead Clan and the Cardiff Devils, and the Sheffield Steelers and the Coventry Blaze. So I am sure you'll agree, 4 fantastic quarter-finals, and I don't think any of us can predict who are the 4 final teams that will make it through to the NIC in Nottingham. Can the Edinburgh Capitals overturn the Nottingham Panthers? I'm not quite so sure myself. I'll tell you what, that Braehead series against the Cardiff Devils is one that could produce maybe a surprise winner. Can Braehead make it to the Final Four for the first time, or will the Cardiff Devils continue that fantastic run of making every single Elite League playoff finals weekend? Well, you can join us live and exclusive on Sky Sports for the playoff final. It will come your way on Sunday the 7th of April, Sky Sports 3, and we will be on air from 4 p.m. Well, folks, I'm sure if you're not at the NIC in Nottingham and that event looks like selling out yet again, you'll be able to enjoy that final. We'll have lots of coaches, lots of guests, lots of preview, lots of build-up to the biggest game of the year, the playoff final. Well, they're taking the rink down here at the Motorpoint Arena. That's Elite League action for another season over. I trust you've enjoyed our highlight shows. We'll be back this time next year, I hope, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. See you at the playoff finals, folks. Give your team a cheer. Good night.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.